At the time of recording, Aberdeen currently sit tied third in the all-time Scottish Premiership titles with 4. The last of which was in the 1984-85 season, where a young lad called Alex Ferguson guided them to the title. Since then, the title has effectively remained in Glasgow, with both Celtic and Rangers dominating the silverware. Today, that changes as we take charge of Aberdeen for the next 5 seasons, but I will make this challenge even harder by only signing Scottish players. And here we are, gang, diving into Aberdeen. We are, of course, in the Cinch Premiership up in Scotland. The stadium looks lovely as well, and we've actually got some decently talented players at the club already. What I do need to say to you guys though is, obviously in Scotland there are a lot of competitions. We already start in Europe, which I'm quite happy with. It's very rare on these rebuilds that we start in a European competition. The top 2 in Scotland qualify for the Champions League qualifiers, and we finished 3rd last year, I believe, so we're going to try and better that. That is going to be our main goal, is to win ourselves a Scottish Premiership title to edge that disparity, because I believe we're tied on 4 with Hibs and I can't think who else, but Hibs and Hearts maybe. I think there's 3 teams from memory that are tied on 4. We have the Premier Sports Cup, which is basically the League Cup. We have the Scottish Cup, which is the FA Cup or Pokal or Copa del Rey equivalent. We are of course in the Europa League, and we have the Cinch Premiership. Now, we have lots of transfers going in and out. If you look at this, it's very, very busy. We started this on a real world database. Got lots of players going in, lots of players going out. On the incomings though, this is one that I am looking forward to. Pape Habib Gay. He looks very, very good, and I think he could be a good player for us. However, I understand he does not fit the quota of Scottish only players. If we go and take a look at the squad right now, and if I go over to general information, you can see there's a whole host of different nationalities here. We've got Slovenian, Moldovan, we've got the Dutch players, we've got Americans, Irish. My goal is to turn this whole page, this whole column here, into just Scottish players only. Now, what I'm going to do with that, I'm not going to actively look to destroy this squad by shipping everyone that's not Scottish out, but every new addition that we make will be a Scottish player, or at least dual Scottish nationality is going to be the goal. So we're going to go through and see what we can do with this. Tactic wise today, we are going to be running GYR's Daredevil, which is super aggressive. It is a 3-striker formation with 2 attacking midfielders. I feel like if you're going to score goals, you're probably going to score goals in Scotland, so we're going to try it here, and I think it's going to be fun to find as many strikers as we can fit into this team and see what we can actually do with it, because lots of the Scottish players that go to the Premier League and stuff, we then can't afford their wages, so that's going to be the goal that we are going to have to see here. Obviously, this is how the team is going to line up to start things. We have the best 11 in situ right now. Reece Williams on loan from Liverpool is one that people might know of. Leighton Clarkson as well, also former Liverpool youth prospect as well, one that I know. Keller Roos was at Bristol Rovers when I worked there. So you can kind of see some of the players that I do know in this team, some of them that I don't, and I'm sure we will get to know in this season, in this save rather. If we go and have a look at the Cinch Premiership, of course, Celtic are favourites to win the league. Rangers are second, Hearts, then Hibs, then ourselves. We are predicted to finish in 5th. My goal is to at least continue to qualify for the Europa League. So let's get into it. Let's simulate season 1 and see how we get on with Aberdeen. Break free from the ordinary with Sneak Energy, which is designed for you, the extraordinary person. Sneak's powdered energy formula is packed with active ingredients for concentration and focus, and it packs a punch with 150 milligrams of caffeine that comes in 15 awesome flavors. But unlike other energy drinks out there is 0 sugar and 0 crash. Visit the link in the description for 10% off of any and all order that you can make on Sneak while supporting me as a creator, which obviously I greatly appreciate. So thank you very much to Sneak for sponsoring this video. We are going to go and dive in to the results of season number 1 right now. Football in Scotland is always going to be tough because of the amount of games that we are going to have every single season, with hopefully 4 competitions that we're fighting in, but the first trophy available for us is always going to be the League Cup. We managed to progress through the second round with a comfortable 3-0 win against Partick Thistle before demolishing St Mirren in the quarters, even bagging 7 goals in the process. So we moved on to the semi-finals, where we would face Championship side Dunfermline at Hampden Park. Despite facing lower league opposition, Dunfermline gave us our toughest test so far, even after we raced out into a 2-goal lead. Dunfermline then hit back with 15 minutes to go and then managed to level the tie in the 96th minute to send the game to extra time. But then in extra time, our overall quality shone through and finally put the tie to bed with a goal from Esther Sokler in the 105th minute. That meant that we moved on into the final, where we would come up against Celtic, and even though we got dominated for large spells of the game, Ryan Duncan scored the only goal of the game, catching Joe Hart out to see us crowned League Cup champions in our first season. Our league campaign even got off to a great start as well, with 2 wins in a row, including defeating Celtic at home before coming crashing back down to earth by losing to St Mirren. This season was all about putting out a marker about the potential of this team, and I think we definitely did that by beating both Celtic and Rangers back to back in November. Having 3 strikers is definitely a positive, as we had the best 2 goal scorers in the league, sharing the golden boot with 18 goals apiece. It was also one hell of a season for fullback Nicky Devlin, who was our highest average rated player in the league, whilst providing us with 3 goals and 10 assists from right back. As we moved into 2024, we continued to be impressive, but still dropped too many points to be a real threat in a title battle, but we did comfortably secure that 3rd place finish, and we are just 5 points behind champion Celtic. So I can definitely see a title coming in this video at some point. And to wrap up domestic football for season 1, we had the Scottish Cup, and we managed to coast our way through to the semi-finals, where we would meet Rangers. And I have to tell you, this match was carnage with a total of 11 goals. We opened the scoring in the 5th minute, but Rangers battled back to go into half-time with a 2-1 lead. Then in the second half, we went off. Goals rained down on the Rangers goal, with Jack Butland having a stinker to see us run out 8-3 winners on the day to move into the final, where we would face Celtic. Who else? Celtic took the lead through Callum McGregor, but we were able to pull level shortly after through Duck before Connor Barron gave us the lead just before half-time from the penalty spot. Kyogo was able to pull Celtic level in the second half, and that's how the game remained to send the game into extra time. And unfortunately for us, this is where we kind of ran out of steam to see Celtic win the game 5-3 and secure their 42nd Scottish Cup. And finally, for season 1, we had our continental performance, where we had to qualify for the group stages, and we did so with ease, brushing aside LASK from Austria with an 11-6 aggregate win. We were drawn in Group G alongside Sheriff from Moldova, Olympiacos from Greece, and Liverpool, with our main goal being to make it out the group. And we did just that, with our only loss coming at home to Liverpool to see us finish runners-up in the group and move into the knockout stages. Here we were handed one of the toughest draws available, as we face AC Milan, with the first leg being at the San Siro. It will come as no surprise, as we're not really ready for a game of this caliber in season 1, and AC Milan ripped us apart in the first leg, winning 6-0 in Italy to effectively move themselves into the next round. We performed slightly better in the home leg, but still suffered a 4-2 defeat on the night to lose the tie 10-2 on aggregate, but this will be a strong learning experience for the team. As far as first seasons go, this one was brilliant, but now we can work to making this side as Scottish as possible, and we have just under £7 million in our transfer kitty. So guys, we're going to start on the transfer page because we've been very active in the summer transfer market. I need to highlight all the players that we've got coming through here on the first page, because there's almost 2 pages of this one. First up was a signing from Celtic, Rocco Vata. Looks like he has a lot of potential, this guy. 19 years of age. He is a winger. We're going to train him to play as a striker, but I think he's got all the attributes to do so. High dribbling, decent enough pace. I think with a little bit of nurturing and a lot of game time, which I will give him, he could turn into a good player. He came in from Celtic for 875k. We also signed Craig Moore to play in the middle. Again, again, a bit more of a defensive option for us. 15 tackling, 14 marking on him. He's not overly standout, but he's also not costing us a fortune at £750 a week as well. He's been capped by Scotland at under 19 level, but I think he could be a good defensive option for us. We also signed Liam Kelly to be our new goalkeeper from Motherwell. 28 years of age, hasn't actually got any full Scottish caps, but he looks like a good prospect to me. I say prospect, he's 28. 6 foot tall, good jumping reach, good goalkeeping attributes where he needs them as well. I definitely think he is an improvement in between the sticks. We also signed Alex Lowry from Rangers for an initial £2 million. He's going to be one of our creative forces in those cam spots. Again, capped by Scotland at youth international level, and has good composure and good ability on the ball. 15 technique, 15 vision, 15 flair. Could be very useful in breaking teams down. Lewis Jameson comes in from St Mirren as a striker for us. 14 finishing's okay, not too bad. Lacking a little bit in the dribbling in the first touch region, but looks like a bit more of a physical striker with those physicals. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do with him up top. And we've also signed on this page Stephen Walsh, another player coming in from Celtic, a good centre-back for us. 6'3", 24 years of age, so he's got a long time to run in his career already. And again, looking like a massive improvement for us in that area. Then on this page, we've got a couple more signings. Lewis Nielsen comes in from Hibs. Again, another well-rounded centre-back for us. 21 years of age. Again, has lots of his career in front of him, and can play at right back or DM if we absolutely have to play him there. He came in for 450k. Matthew Anderson comes in from Celtic to be our new left back. Lacking a little bit in what I need him to do going forward with only 10 crossing and 9 dribbling, but for the level, I actually think he's really good. Again, capped by Scotland at youth international level. You can see the types of players that we are going after. He came in from Celtic for 850k. And then finally, we spent £3 million on Mark O'Hara. Look at this guy, guys. He has every single attribute in double digits. He's got 17 for penalty taking. He's just supremely well-rounded. If you wanted a box-to-box midfielder to come out of Scotland, he is probably one of the ones. He's 6'4" as well. So again, a nice big physical frame to come into this team. And speaking of the team, this is what we are going to probably do this season. We're going to pin Barron, Lowry and Vata. Obviously, we said about converting Vata into a striker. He needs to play there to do so. So we are going to be doing that without restriction. We are going to pick the remainder of the positions, and this is how we are going to set up this season, guys. Obviously, after having a very good year last year, Devlin is still at right back. Kelly is our new goalkeeper, but the rest of the back line is pretty darn new. We've got Barron obviously holding down that centre midfield spot on his own. Lowry comes in, and Gay and Miovski are going to be the two strikers to go up front with Vata, but we need to keep having strikers, need to keep signing strikers, because you rattle through them quite quickly with 3 up front. If we go into the competitions tab, of course, we have the 3 domestic competitions again, and we will be back in the Europa League for a second spell. Hopefully, we can do a little bit better than we did against AC Milan. And if we have a look at the Premiership again, obviously Celtic are the favourites to win the title, 2-7 on. Is that Eric Dyer? Bloody hell, Eric Dyer's in the division. How much are they paying Eric Dyer? I bet that's more than my 18 and just under 19k a week. Okay, that's quite a lot compared to the £750 a week centre-back that I signed. But we are now tied 3rd favourites for the title. Ourselves and Hibs are kind of the best of the rest, should we say, if you move outside of Glasgow. We're going to try again to see what we can do. I feel like there was a couple of missed opportunities last season, but obviously we're still trying to put our real fingerprint on this particular team. Hopefully, we can finish at least in 3rd again. If not, try and get ourselves into that Champions League qualifying path by finishing in 2nd. Let's get this season simulated. We kicked off Season 2 with our defence of the Scottish League Cup, which got off to a great start, defeating Ross County, followed by Falkirk in the quarter-finals. It was Rangers up next in the semis, and we took the lead in this one as Duck nodded home from a Nicky Devlin cross. However, we didn't come out on top this time, as Rangers scored 2 goals in the second half to see our amazing run in this competition come to an end. Rangers will be a constant thorn in our side this season and handed us our first defeat of the Scottish Premiership campaign. However, we were much more clinical this season, turning some of last year's draws into wins to put us in a great position going into the festive period. This season saw Papi Habib Gay have a remarkable year, bagging 23 goals in the Scottish Premiership on the way to securing that golden boot. After Christmas, we continued to dominate for large spells until the league split into the Championship group, where we completely fell apart, only picking up 1 point from our final 4 games. I feel like this was an opportunity missed, as we finished 3rd for a second season in a row as Rangers picked up the title, beating Celtic by 4 points and us by 6 points. But it was the Scottish Cup where we really delivered this season. After needing extra time to defeat Dundee United in the 4th round, we managed to take out Hearts in the 5th round before moving into the quarter-finals. Here, we would get our own back on Rangers for that League Cup defeat with a 6-4 victory, with 5 of our players getting on the score sheet in the process. The semi-finals saw us take on Motherwell, and we were able to blow them out of the water with a 5-1 win to go marching into our 2nd Scottish Cup final in a row. This season we managed to avoid Celtic in the final as we took on Hibs at Hampden Park. Gay continued his great goal-scoring run in this competition, scoring twice inside the first 5 minutes to give us a commanding lead, but Hibs came roaring back with 2 goals of their own to see us go into half-time all square. But in the second half, we clicked up through the gears and managed to dominate proceedings, with Rocco Vata and Jamie McGrath getting on the score sheet to see us lift the club's 8th Scottish Cup. And for a 2nd season in a row, we successfully qualified for the Europa League, this time defeating Victoria Plzen from Czechia 7-4 on aggregate. So we moved into the new format with the league phase, where we picked up some solid wins against the likes of Lazio and Lyon. We finished the league phase with 10 points and in 20th place, meaning we'd have to face a knockout playoff tie where we would take on Ferencváros from Hungary. The first leg was at home, and we were really caught cold by the Hungarian side, scoring twice inside the first 30 minutes to really put us on the back foot. Bojan Miovski did manage to score for us before half-time, but despite dominating the game for large spells, it gave us an uphill task on the road. But this is one we were able to step up to, as Alex Larry scored inside the first 60 seconds in Budapest, and that was followed up by a Miovski making it 2-0 inside the first 5 minutes. Then, with 7 minutes of the 90 remaining, Ferencváros managed to make the tie level on aggregate to send the game to extra time. But the boys really came to fight in this one, as Gay and Duck added a goal apiece in extra time to see us progress to the round of 16. This is where we were drawn alongside German side Eintracht Frankfurt, and we would be at home again for the first leg. But for a 2nd tie in a row, we were caught cold by our opposition, who opened up a 2-goal lead inside the opening 22 minutes. We did manage to battle back with 2 goals of our own to make the game all square, but we were then hit with a sucker punch as Frankfurt scored again to take a 3-2 lead into the 2nd leg. In Germany, we really went for it, and the goals were flying in for both sides as Bojan Miovski completed his hat-trick from the spot in the 81st minute to see us take the lead going into the closing stages of the tie. But then we were stunned in the 94th minute as Paxton Aronson scored his 2nd goal of the game to send the game to extra time. But then in extra time, Scottish hearts were broken as Robin Koch scored in the 101st minute to see us crash out the Europa League. But at least it was a round further than we made it last season. So with this season, we've added another trophy to the trophy cabinet and had a real opportunity to win the league, but lacked the mental fortitude when it counted. But we are definitely moving in the right direction. This summer we have just over £9 million in our transfer budget to continue transitioning this squad into a full team of Scots. So let's get to it. So guys, the transition to a full Scottish squad continues as we had a couple of players leave us for some fees over this window. Slobodan Rubišić has departed us. He's gone over to Vojvodina over in Serbia. A good player. Solid enough for us, didn't play too much, and obviously is not Scottish, so we got a fee of 150k for him. And Ester Sokler has departed. He's gone back over to Slovenia for 975k. Is that in Slovenia? It is in Slovenia. 975k for him, so 1.1 million pounds made in this particular window. But we've been out and we found ourselves a couple of Scottish players to bring in. I'm sure you're seeing a big fee of 15 million. Don't worry, I've used a lot of installments on this. First up is Liam Morrison, who comes in from Bayern Munich of all places. I didn't know this guy was over there. 6'2" centre back, 22 years of age, 1 full cap for the Scottish national team. You can really see we are starting to step this team up now in terms of our recruitment, which is really good to see. Coming in on free transfer, it is a real nice signing from Bayern Munich. Mark Leonard comes in as well. He can play in any of the 3 positions for us in midfield, defence, midfield, centre mid, or as a cam. He's also got 16 composure, which is really nice. Again, Scottish youth caps. He is 23 now, but hasn't made a full appearance for the Scottish national team. I'm going to talk about John Suter first of all. He's 28 years of age, coming in from Rangers. We paid his transfer fee. He's got 16 heading, 16 determination. He's massive as well at 6'1", 14 jumping reach. He's going to be a real threat. They only wanted £2.5 million for him, so we paid it. And then the guy on the thumbnail, the guy who we spent the most money on from the team that I support. Tommy Conway comes in. He is a youth international for Scotland as well as a striker. He's going to be our new advanced forward. We paid a lot of money for Mr. Tommy Conway, £12.5 million. Again, we paid 5 up front, and then we had a little bit more in installments for him. But I really think he could be a real good player. Obviously, he's now valued at £24 to £27 million. And goal scoring wise for Bristol City, barely played in the Championship, which is absolutely baffling considering he was our top goal scorer this season in real life. So if we go into the tactic, this is how we're going to run things this season. O'Hara's going to continue or kind of play as our central midfielder there. And we are going to continue to pin Vata, and we are going to make sure that Tommy Conway gets his game time as our advanced forward, especially after spending all that money on him. If we quick pick without restriction, this is my favorite bit about this tactic, right? Wait until all of these guys have these relationships, the crossovers and the green lines. Mwah. It just looks fantastic. We do need ourselves a backup goalkeeper though, so we are trying to get in David Marshall, 40-year-old David Marshall, just because he's a veteran. Could be a good solid backup goalkeeper for us. We're trying to sign him on a free, but hopefully he can come in and do a job for us. Competition-wise, ladies and gentlemen, we have the same 4 competitions as always. We'll be looking to try and retain our Scottish Cup, get our Premier Sports Cup back, and obviously improve in the Cinch Premiership. We are 20 to 1 now. We are the clear 3rd best team in the land, and we need to continue to push that narrative, and hopefully we can overtake one of these behemoths from Glasgow at some point. So let's get to simulating season number 3. As always, we kicked off the season with the Scottish League Cup, where we advanced through to our 2nd final in 3 years, and that run even included an impressive victory against Celtic in the quarter-finals. But the final saw us take on the blue half of Glasgow, and it was Rangers who took the lead early in this one as Danilo headed home from inside the area. We did manage to pull level in this one through Papi Habib Guy on the half-hour mark, but that meant very little in the second half as Matthew Aronson was shown a 2nd yellow card to see us play the final 30 minutes of the game with 10 men. And no sooner than 10 minutes later, Rangers were back in the lead as Andre Franco beat our keeper at the near post. Our 10 men did manage to dig in and pull level for a second time through Duck in the 81st minute, but we were handed a real gut punch in the 96th minute as James Tavernier leapt highest at the back post to head home and see Rangers win the game and lift the trophy. In the Cinch Premiership, we started the campaign like a house on fire, winning 10 of our opening 12 fixtures to fire out a real statement of intent that this title was going to be ours this season. This year was a real coming-of-age season for former Bristol City man Tommy Conway, who ripped the league apart with 32 goals in 38 appearances on his way to an impressive golden boot. The second half of the season rolled around after the winter break, and we continue to be exceptional, only dropping 13 points from the 52 available, but even with that run, we couldn't grasp the club's first league title since the 80s. We finished the season on a total of 87 points, which would have seen us win the title last year, but sadly this time around Rangers pipped us to the title by just a single point. You can see that we've really closed the gap on Glasgow's Big Two, and that is something that rolled into the Scottish Cup as well. We progressed through the early rounds despite taking on teams from our league for a majority of the cup run to put us in the semi-finals where we would face Kilmarnock. Derek McInnes' side twice took the lead in this one, but the combination of Richard Jensen and Rocco Vata were able to level on both occasions before Vata scored his 2nd goal of the game with a superb solo strike to see us move into the Scottish Cup final for a 3rd season in a row. We were looking to retain the trophy, but came up against a Celtic side who we beat into 2nd in the league, so they were out for revenge. However, sadly for them, Alistair Johnson turned the ball into his own net on the 11th minute to hand us a nice easy lead. Timothy Weah was able to pull Celtic level on the 20th minute, but after that we took over the game, with Conway scoring a goal in each half before Nicky Devlin added a 4th after cutting in from the right hand side and lashing the ball past the goalkeeper. Celtic were able to score a consolation goal after that, but we weren't going to surrender a 2-goal lead to see us lift back-to-back Scottish Cups. And in Europe, I wanted to improve on last season's performance by making the quarter-finals of the Europa League. But first, we needed to qualify for the league phase yet again and brushed aside Austrian side Rapid Vienna, winning the tie 4-2 on aggregate. Once in the league phase, we almost put in a memorable performance, winning 6 of our 8 games with the only loss coming away to Spanish side Villarreal. Those results saw us finish second in the table behind AC Milan and progress automatically into the round of 16, where we would take on Norwegian side Bodo Glimt. We were away from home in the first leg and we were handed a bit of a surprise defeat, losing the game in Norway 2-1, with Rocco Vata getting on the score sheet for us. But back in Scotland, we were able to overturn that 1-goal deficit with a 2-0 win, with Gay netting twice in the second half. Meaning we moved into the quarter-finals, where we would face a trip south of the border as we would take on Premier League side Chelsea. The first leg was at Pittodrie, but Chelsea really came to play and summer signing Florian Wirtz was pulling all the strings. This game was a bit of a goal fest and a treat for the neutral, but the Premier League side came out on top in this one with a 6-3 win, giving us an uphill task to advance to the next round. At Stamford Bridge, we did take the lead early through Alex Lowry, but in truth, Chelsea dominated the game and equalised in the second half through Raheem Sterling to see them win the tie 7-4 on aggregate. But I'm still classing this season as a huge success. A top 2 finish in the league means we will be in the Champions League next season, and we added another Scottish Cup to the trophy cabinet. Money continues to trickle into the club as we have just under £7 million to spend in this upcoming window, but I've got my eye on a few talents that I think could be solid additions. So turning this Team Scottish continues to roll on. We've managed to sell one of our bigger strikers. Duck has gone over to Saudi Arabia for £5 million. Yes, we managed to sell a player for £5 million. He's actually been very, very good for us since he signed from Benfica. Had some very, very good years. Didn't play an awful lot last season. Lots of substitute appearances. He was unhappy, so we managed to sell him for £5 million, which has allowed us to go in and spend a little bit more ourselves. Is there anyone on this page? No, it's not. We did get David Marshall. But okay, let's talk about first and foremost. We signed the McCrory brothers. Yes, Ross and Robbie McCrory have come into the team. Ross obviously returning back to Aberdeen from Bristol City. He's managed to go on to make 109 appearances for Bristol City, which if you've seen his first season in our red strip, he's only managed, I think it's like 8 appearances in all competitions this season just because of injuries. Bristol City signed him for 1.5 million pounds. We've managed to bring him in for free, hopefully for a second spell at the club where he can continue to look very, very good. And again, his brother Robbie comes in as our backup goalkeeper. Nothing overly special on him, coming in from Rangers. We paid 800k for him. He's been on the bench for Rangers. He's probably going to be on the bench for us, but we're going to have to see. We sold one striker. We replaced him with another. Ross Stewart is our man coming in from Southampton, former Sunderland man. Looks very good. Former Ross County man up in Scotland as well. Didn't really play for Southampton in the Premier League. I'm not really surprised last season after Southampton paid £8 million for his services. So we managed to get a free player in to replace someone who cost £5 million. So we've done very, very well there. And then I've been scouting for new gens, as I always do. I will leave links to my Wonder Kid Finder down in the description. But we found this guy, Michael McGrandles. He's from Liverpool, coming through their youth intake, and he looks great. 19 determination, superb mental attributes. Hopefully he could be a good loan signing for us. He's already got 3 caps for Scotland, despite barely scoring for the team. And we also have to talk to you about this guy who came through our youth intake, Torfinn Deer, and this is why he came through our youth intake. I'm going to play him right now. He's 17 years of age. We're paying him £110 a week, but he's got 14 finishing, he's got 16 heading, solid enough mentals, decent enough physicals as well. He's 6'3". I think he can be a handful for us. Promising striker is what he's labelled as. He's solid on both feet, and he's going to have Vata and Conway either side of him, kind of working him through it this season. If we quick pick without restriction the unpicked positions, this is how we are set up now. Leighton Clarkson continues to go in here. Leonard is there. O'Hara. Ross McCrory comes back in at right back, but you can see we're getting there. We are almost all Scottish now. We've got Leighton Clarkson, who's an Englishman. We've got Gay, who's from Senegal, and we've got Majowski, who's Macedonian, I believe. Yeah, that is Macedonian. So we've got 3 non-Scottish players in our club now. We're definitely making the right strides. Competition-wise, as we did finish second in the Prem last season, we have the Champions League, but we do have to qualify for it. We are in the third qualifying round where we take on Basel from Switzerland. So that's going to be an interesting one. Obviously, we have the rest of the domestic stuff. Are we still the 3rd best team in Scotland? Yes, we are. We've increased or decreased the odds a little bit. We're pulling Celtic back, as are Rangers. We are now 18-1, and Rocco Vata is now in the media dream 11 for the team. We are obviously moving in the right direction. Can this be the season where we win the Scottish title finally? So we're going to start the Season 4 recap by talking about our appearance in the Champions League as we finally made it into the competition, but as I mentioned earlier, we did have to qualify for it. First up was Danish side Brøndby, but we were able to push them aside, winning both legs without breaking a sweat. Up next was Basel from Switzerland, as I mentioned, and we dominated that game at home, winning 3-0 and drew on the road to move into the final playoff. Here we faced Sporting from Portugal and narrowly won the game at home thanks to a goal from Leighton Clarkson, but put in an outstanding performance on the road to win 3-2 on the night and progress to the Champions League proper. We were handed some tough tests here, but we did manage to pick up wins against RB Leipzig and Napoli, but ultimately we missed the cut to qualify for the knockout stages of the competition, finishing 25th in the table with 9 points. Domestically, we did get off to a great start, breezing through the earlier rounds of the League Cup, avoiding both Glasgow sides on our way to a second consecutive final. After losing to Rangers last season, we really wanted this one in our trophy cabinet, and we were put under pressure early as Lawrence Shanklin opened the scoring for our opponents' hearts. But just before halftime, we added a quick-fire double to take a goal lead into the break. Then in the second half, Gay scored a nice brace to see us win the game 4-1 and lift our second League Cup trophy in 4 seasons. In the Premiership, we got off to a great start, winning 7 our first 8 games, with us only dropping points against Celtic on the road. But looking at this season, whilst we had long unbeaten runs, we drew too many games again to be a real threat at the top of the table. Our key man this campaign was returning Ross McCrory, who dominated from the right back spot to give us a return of 3 goals and a whopping 25 assists in all competitions, which is why I just wish he could stay fit for my team Bristol City in real life. Towards the end of the season, you can see that we dropped too many points in silly draws before losses to both Hibs and Rangers once the split to the Championship group happened. Rangers were an absolute monster this season, racking up 98 points and a 3rd title in a row, but Celtic pipped us to that 2nd spot, meaning it will be Europa League football for us in our 5th and final season. And in the Scottish Cup, after winning the trophy back-to-back, we had a woeful year this time out as we suffered a penalty defeat in the quarter-finals to Ross County, with both Ross McCrory and Ryan Duncan failing to convert from the spot. So this season looks like a bit of a failure compared to previous years, but the Champions League money has hit our bank account and we have a summer transfer budget of just under £19 million to spend, which, considering we're looking exclusively for Scottish talent, that money should go very far. So guys, we went all out with that transfer money that we did manage to get ourselves. We do have a couple player sales to talk to you about. We sold Bojan Miovski. We sold him in January. I completely forgot to mention him in the season recap. We sold him for £5 million. We sold Ross Stewart in this summer for St Mirren. He wasn't playing. And we also sold Gay over to the same team as Duck, actually, for £2.5 million. So we managed to recoup a lot of money and we got really active in this transfer market. We managed to sign these 4 players on this page. I'll go through them super quickly. Daniel Kelly coming in from Celtic, looks relatively well-rounded for what we need. He was on a free transfer, so you can never have too many bodies in midfield, especially with the amount that we are playing. We also signed this new gen from Motherwell. Hugh Tarr is his name. 6'4", 19 years of age, capped by the Scottish Youth International setup. He's got 18 determination and 16 technique to play as an advanced midfielder for us, and we are going to pin him. Believe me, we are going to pin him in position. He comes in to be our new number 7. He came in from Motherwell for £3.7 million. We signed Jordan Miller from Dundee United as well for 100k. He looks superb. Great physicals as well. 17 balance, 16 natural fitness, really nice double digits in every single one of them. He's 6'1" himself as well, and has all the good defending attributes that you do need in a centre back, and for 100k you cannot argue. I feel like we've upgraded in goal. We've signed Murray Johnson from Hibs for £10 million. That's a lot of it in installments, but he is Scotland's goalkeeper in this world right now. So 15 reflexes on him, 14 handling, 14 one-on-ones, 14 positioning, relatively well-rounded, doesn't have good stamina, doesn't need it. 6'2", 22 years of age, is a massive upgrade for us in that goalkeeper spot. We also signed David Watson for £9 million. He looks like the best, one of the best players that can come in and play as that defensive midfielder. He's also got a long throw, but he's also got 18 stamina, 18 natural fitness. He's going to be able to run all day. Another young Scotsman coming in. Jensen Weir come in on a free transfer from Brighton and Hove Albion. 25 years of age, 2 caps for Scotland. Again, nice, well-rounded to play in any of these midfield positions that we would need him to. Ryan Porteous is how I'm going to butcher this poor man's name again, as a centre-back cover option, 28 years of age, 6'2", 13 caps for the Scottish national team on a free from Watford. You absolutely love to take it. And Ollie McBurney, again, another player on a free transfer. He's 31 years of age, a little bit more mature, but another player to play up front. As I said, with 3 strikers, you definitely need a number of rotation options. We also signed David Turnbull on a free from Cardiff City. Obviously, Scottish football fans will know all about him. And then this is the one I need to talk to you about. Elliot Anderson. We signed him. I know you're seeing the St George's Cross here. He is half Scottish, right? Information you can see, eligible for Scotland. I'm counting it. I'm counting it because he is fantastic. He was released by Newcastle and attribute-wise looks great. Probably a player that Scotland should really look to if they've not done that already, to play in that attacking midfield spot. Because if we go and look at our squad, it's all Scottish apart from him, and he could play for Scotland, guys. He could. It is an option. He could play for Scotland. I'm going to chalk this off as a win. You're going to have to let me know what you think down in that comment section. And if we go into the tactic, this is how we're going to set up this season. We're going to pin Tar and Deer. Deer's gone on to develop really, really nicely with that first full season for us. He scored 17 in the Premiership last season, 24 in all competitions. Hoping he can go on to have another good year. But these two are going to be the ones that we're going to pin this season. If we quick pick without restriction, the other players, we've got Conway and McBurney there. Turnbull comes in alongside Tar. We're not even playing players like Anderson and stuff like that because we have really, really good depth options. We've got 3 good goalkeepers. We've got a good setup at the back. We've got good squad players to come in. So I think this is going to be our best season going so far. We are back in the Europa League, sadly, after last season's 3rd place finish, but I'm hoping we can dominate and win as many things as we possibly can and break this ending spell. Rangers winning 3 titles in a row. If we have a look at the season preview, we're still 18-1 to win the league. We're no longer have a player in the media dream 11, and Kimpembe is now in the league and they're paying him 26k a week, which is absolutely outrageous at Rangers. So we're going to simulate this 5th and final season, and hopefully we can get over the line and win this Scottish Premiership title. Guys, before we get into the results of season number 5, if you are still here, let me know that you are still here by commenting the words Sir Alex down below for the main man Fergie. Let me know Sir Alex down below. That lets me know that you are still here at this point in this video. It's going to be a well over half an hour into the video, so I really appreciate your guys' support, and it lets me know that you are here at this point in the video. Anyway, let's get into the results of season number 5 because it was an absolute barnstormer. As always, we started the season with the League Cup, and you can really see that we've turned a corner as a team with some of our results. We defeated both Motherwell and Falkirk without conceding a single goal to face Rangers in the semi-finals. The game was at Hampden and we absolutely battered Rangers from start to finish in this one, with goals raining down on their net. We had 4 different players get on the score sheet in what turned out to be a 7-0 win for the Dons. Moving into the final, we came up against Hibs, who, despite equalising Rocco Vata's early goal, didn't put up much of a fight, and we were able to brush them aside with goals from Vata, Turnbull, McBurney and Barron. Meaning we lifted back-to-back League Cup trophies, and our 3rd in 5 seasons. I wanted to carry that form into the Scottish Cup to make it a domestic double, and we progressed very nicely through the early rounds before facing Celtic this time in the semis. We started well in this one and opened up a 2-goal lead thanks to Elliot Anderson and Deer, but Celtic did come roaring back in the second half with 2 goals of their own to send the game into extra time. We dominated possession and were finally rewarded as David Turnbull tapped home from close range in the 113th minute to send us on to the final. This time we faced St Johnstone, so I was expecting another win, but we were horrid in the first half and quickly found ourselves 3 goals down. After giving the team a bit of a bollocking at halftime, we looked a completely different side in the second half, and we managed to score goals through Conway and McBurney, but we couldn't find that equaliser, so sat and watched St Johnstone lift the Scottish Cup trophy. In the Premiership, we started the campaign well, winning our opening game of the season against champions Rangers. But you can already see the amount of green in our schedule, which is including a 15-game winning run that spanned from November through to February. Tommy Conway returned to the top of the goal scoring charts this season, bagging 15 league goals along with summer signing Ollie McBurney, who also got 15 in his debut season. This season saw us complete a 29-game unbeaten run, which largely consisted of us picking up 3 points to see us carry some amazing form into the championship group. We did eventually lose to Celtic and a draw with Rangers in that group, but it didn't matter as we managed to gather a massive 92 points to be crowned Scottish League champions for the first time since 1985. Meaning we would be back in the Champions League next season, but this time around we have the Europa League to contend with. We had to qualify for the competition, but Servette from Switzerland put up very little fight, with us winning the tie 6-0 on aggregate. So we advanced into the league phase, where we managed to win 4 of our games to collect 14 points and finish 11th in the table and qualify for the knockout phases of the competition. In the knockout round we took on Crystal Palace, a team that actually did beat us in the league phase, and the first leg would be at Selhurst Park. English sides are always a worry in these competitions, and that proved to be the case here as we suffered a 2-0 defeat in the first leg, with Jared Brantwaite and Adam Wharton getting on the score sheet. However, back home our attacking players went off to great effect, lashing home 8 goals in the second leg to win the game 8-3 on the night and win the tie 8-5 on aggregate. Meaning we moved into the next round and our home form continued to be impressive as we faced Club Brugge from Belgium. In the first leg we scored another 6 goals in a 6-2 win to give ourselves a cushion for the road leg, which is just as well because Bruges really showed some character in this one, winning the game 4-2 on the night, but we managed to progress to the quarterfinals with an 8-6 aggregate win. Here we faced Fenerbahce and we had to travel to Turkey for the first leg. Ollie McBurney gave us a quick fire lead inside the 8th minute, but the Turkish side pulled themselves level from the spot in the second half. However, back at home we rained down the goals again, with McCrory, Vata and McBurney getting on the score sheet in a 3-1 win to push us on to the semi-finals. Werder Bremen stood in our way of getting to that final, and despite dominating the first leg at home, we narrowly advanced with a single goal lead thanks to a second half tap-in from John Suter from a set piece. In Germany for the second leg, Bremen opened the scoring, but Elliot Anderson was quickly on hand to restore that aggregate lead. Then with just 4 minutes of the 90 remaining, Werder scored their second goal of the night to send the game to extra time. We were then handed a gut punch as Bremen took the lead for the first time in the tie in extra time, but Elliot Anderson wasn't having any of it, scoring again to send the game to spot kicks. Both teams continued to score penalties in the shootout until Marco Friedel saw his penalty saved by Murray Johnson with their third spot kick to give us the advantage. However, with our fourth penalty, Tommy Conway struck the upright to make it all square yet again. Lewis Nelson then scored his penalty to allow Johnson to become our penalty shootout hero, saving his second in the shootout to send us to that final. This would be a massive game for us as we take to the field against Liverpool in the final, with no one in the media giving us a chance. And it was Liverpool who took the lead in this one as Matteo Peratti headed home from a Trent Alexander-Arnold free kick. But we showed great character in the game, getting 2 quick goals before half-time to see us go into the break in the lead. However, the second half was too much for us as Ryan Gravenberch scored a brace of his own before Peratti added a second of the game to see Liverpool win the trophy and us return to Scotland empty-handed. This season was so close to greatness, but I will take a league title and a League Cup trophy along with 2 runners-up medals. So this was it. This was our Scottish-only rebuild of Aberdeen. You can continue this journey if you wanted to. The save files will be posted on my Patreon. Links to that will be in the description and in the top pinned comment, so you guys can go over, download the save and carry on from this point. Let me know what you thought of this rebuild of Aberdeen with Scottish players only. If there's anyone else you would like to see me rebuild, let me know down in that comment section. And if you want to watch more rebuilds from me, because they're good fun, right? You're still enjoying it. You must be if you're still here. Check out this playlist. It's all the rebuilds that we've done on this year's game.